in a while, a random nobody would come out of the woodworks to expose Kittensneeze for being this Nazi supporter and drawing herself as a Nazi, but she doesn't do this anymore. However, her reasoning is genuinely hilarious. Guys, I didn't know that that Nazis were bad.
So that's not actually her reason. Unlike what he would have you to believe in something that he has later on said, is that they never responded to this. But Kittensneeze has responded to this before, as of June 4th, 2024. So while he may have you believe that it's X, Y, and Z, it's not. And we can just go look at the screenshots. There's a bunch of things to talk about, but that is such a big straw man of what actually happened. This is extremely different than how people try to make it seem of like, oh, well, I didn't know it was bad. It's because during the time, and if you actually were on the internet and you aren't one of these newbies coming to the internet with this moral pride, back in the day, it was the wiki wild wild west. This stuff did happen quite frequently. This was normalized. And for a person to be exposed on 4chan, which is not that hard, and where people go and do this and people draw themselves as Nazis over and over again, it is not that hard to actually go and be like, oh, this is just kind of whatever. This is on top of that, the person would have been very young at the time, even before them being anything of a Kittensneeze would have probably interacted with this. They even talk about that it's not an excuse, but it is to go and talk about like, hey, this is how I was, and now I understand that, like, hey, I'm not gonna do that. And like obviously you can see that I'm not gonna do that. The only people that would contest this are people like him that would morally grandstand and have to strawman what the person said, or never follow up and actually read the better document and where it actually is longer and expanded upon. How does he counter this? Same way that he's always countered, same way that he tried to counter me. Insults.
Of course, her stupid fans are not going to question her on this because they probably don't know, and they probably don't care.
So we're off to a pretty bad start, but let's go look at some of the other claims that this person tries to do and debunk them.
It's hard for me to give somebody like Kittensneeze the benefit of the doubt. They had years and years to address this properly, but refused to, and
that is a big fat lie. Link in the description to this, but if we actually just go to Google real quick and you search up Kittensneeze drama, you can actually see this, which is a proper document in which it talked about every single thing. Plain and simple. So this is either done for moral high horse standing, lying, or just trying to drama farm. I don't know which one is worse. You can go pick whatever, but if it's that lazy to where you just didn't do any research, you shouldn't be talking about this drama, because then you're just trying to do it for clicks.
it's even worse because now there's even more allegations about this person.
The more allegations are actually pretty old and actually go back to around the same time of the previous allegations, so there's not more allegations here. They're the same allegations that are being brought up.
The Nazi stuff is not just the problem here, and I don't care about, oh, she was 17 when she did this. It's the fact that when she got called out for this, she decided that she would falsely accuse somebody of being a groomer. And not just that, we also have predator allegations and also harassment.
All of which was talked about in Kittensneeze's actual response, which was about a year ago, but this person didn't actually want to go and research. They just took the old one, which actually didn't properly do it. Many of the stuff has been debunked and has actually been countered. Things like the predator / grooming / whatever allegations were actually not true. There's no evidence of them, and unfortunately, while this person loves to go push grooming allegations on people like Nominal Dingus, and when you actually look at them and think critically, he tries to call you out and doesn't actually do that. I actually went and looked at it, and like I said, this doesn't seem like there's actually anything. The only two things that people are actually concerned about right now are the racism and the thing against jakeneutron, which both has been solved, unlike what this person tries to push, where like they never ever actually did anything about that. And like I said, the other stuff was false. Like even people came out that actually pushed these allegations to say, I'm sorry, I did, like this was false.
I supposed to do with this stuff? Just sit here and pretend that it's fake? I don't know.
You say that I cannot believe it until it is actually proven. The thing is that most of what he's talking about was not actually proven or was actually debunked. And he just continues going along with it. Or certain things were proven, but then everybody moved past them, and everybody is now trying to bring it back for like the third, fifth, fourth time of the same exact thing. There's only so many times that you can play a sad violin before it gets old, especially when the person has made 2 responses in the past already, and people try to act like they didn't respond multiple times. But you want to know what's worse? Somebody being very, very loserish and parasocial, talking about humans' interactions, and not understanding that people can get very mad at each other and then make it up and then actually become friends.
Know if it's fake, and that's because Kittensneeze will probably never address it.
She did multiple times.
But let's get back to the grooming allegations. Do you guys know who jakeneutron is? He's the guy that made the Jack's Toys song. What if I told you that he was the one to expose Kittensneeze, and then they became best friends? I'm not even kidding. I've never seen that before.
It's not that uncommon. He lives under a rock, and I know a lot of people are extremely parasocial, where it's like, oh, if I was that way, it's like, yeah, but they're not you, right? People are forgiving, people are understanding, people can move on, people can do whatever, right? When nothing comes of it, right, then nothing can come of it. It is up for that person to believe that. Trying to go e-gasp is kind of weird. And when you try to insult him like this...
When the opportunity is open, he defends his queen no matter what. It's just...
So let's not talk about the defenses. Let's just go make fun of them and not actually address what was said. Keep in mind, he also shared like Kittensneeze's talk post as well. So this person just didn't do any type of drama research at all.
I feel like this that makes me lose any and all respect for these type of people, and I do hope that the people that have worked with this guy decide to cut ties with him. They probably...
So now we're a controlling little parasocial freak. Very odd. It's extremely hypocritical because he has a history of like just randomly claiming like falsely that people are predators and groomers and all that. Just to talk about my experience with him, you can go check it on my channel. He harassed me, then he tried to hide it, then he deleted a bunch of evidence, then he tried to say I'm deleting comments, and then he did a whole bunch of other stuff. And it's extremely odd for him to go and be like, oh, well, you gotta go to cut ties with him. But meanwhile, he acts like that, which is way worse. Especially when like you're doing this plus some. It's not like you have grown from this. You did this literally like a week ago.
I won't though, due to them not knowing, and I do not expect a response to be made. And it gets worse. What the fuck? You downplay rape and you...
Nice try there. He doesn't actually downplay rape. If you actually look at it, he's trying to defend his buddy making an edgy joke. Okay, big whoop, whoop, whoop. Like, you can decide whether you like that or not. That is not downplaying rape. That's something else. If we actually go back, like, read it, I'm looking in my DaVinci. They talk about it was me and because of uncomfortable joke again is fictional, yes it wasn't, yada, that's how he does jokes, yada yada yada. That's not downplaying jokes, that's not downplaying rapes, that's downplaying jokes. That's something else. That is a completely different thing. This guy literally just tried to lie in front of your face thinking that you weren't actually going to read this. This is not downplaying rape, this is downplaying somebody's feelings of a joke. That's completely different.
Oh, and also, you're literally black, Jake. How are you okay with your friend casually dropping the N-word? Okay, I will give them the benefit of the doubt, though. They probably didn't know what it meant, and I'll even be honest here. I used to say the N-word a lot. This was before I learned the meaning of it, and I am allowed to say the N-word. I am black, so I can, but I don't like to say it, so I don't. If you're white, then just...
What is the point of this word? I'm gonna go and talk about the person's usage of the N-word, and then I'm just gonna completely, like, nullify my point and, like, act like it doesn't matter. What is this point, bro? It's like, this is such an inconsistent video. I really don't understand because it doesn't actually do anything. It tells a lot of misinformation that's easily verified through just a quick Google search. I literally got this but just by searching Kittensneeze on Google, and that gave me literally everything that I needed. But yeah, what is this point of being like, oh, well, they used the N-word in the past? It's like, okay, did they grow from it? Do we have anything else? Like, it's literally the same drama back then. That's literally it. Things that people have moved on from, but yet we're still trying to do it again.
The dumpster fire is starting to go up in flames, dude. Wow, look at it go up. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's interesting. It just gets worse from here and even better at the same time.
This is what a lot of people do when they want to try to like morally like grandstand and control like you as a person and tell you what you should think rather than what is reality. Basically, pretty much everybody involved is trying to control who a person can interact with based off of somebody else's history. The thing is like, yeah, they had Nazi history. Guess what? They didn't know. They talked about it. Now that isn't an excuse. They even talked about that as an excuse, but you do have to understand back in the day, and especially if you're in like your 20s, you probably know 4chan. If you get in 4chan, it's a very steep rabbit hole. That's where a lot of actual Nazis come from, not a person that LARPs like it and then just acts super duper edgy. Bro, in the 4chan, they will be dropping N bombs like it's nobody's like business. It is DJ up in there with how bad it can be. It is the internet's armpit. Everybody knows that. And if you got onto it, that's what happens. So, okay, big whoop. What are we supposed to do when a person continues that behavior going forward and acts like a cesspool, then gets called out on it, then stops that, and we don't see anything else from them ever again? And they do respond unlike what he says. What are we supposed to do? It is absolutely ludicrous that this person's alternative is just let me never interact with that again. I lost all respect, even though that this thing was solved. It's such a moral grandstanding standard that makes no sense. What else besides something that has been addressed twice? Twice are we supposed to do? The person apologized, the person moved on, everybody else moved on. The only people that haven't are people that get stuck up like this, that try to redo the cycle over and over again and lie that it was never addressed. And there's a reason why people like Tomato, like a longest solo ever, like Jake are defending this, because it's stupid. The actual answer is that you're supposed to do nothing because it has been solved. And unless we see any other evidence of something being continued, being replicated, being done over and over again, then there's nothing for you to do. You called out the behavior, the person apologized, and the person stopped. That's what we want. Acting like we need to hold them at the pitchforks every single like other year is very stupid. It's literally the exact opposite of what you want. You stop once it's done. We got what we wanted. What else are we supposed to do? What else do we want? Them to be burned at the stake? No.
Introducing longest solo ever. They are also a Kittensneeze defender. And you know what they decided to do when all of this came out once again? Well, they made this tweet. This guy is such a fucking loser. Your friend is getting rightfully called out for their shitty behavior and not taking any accountability for their actions. And also,
except they did. They did take accountability. That's the problem with this, because people like him don't actually research. They did. And it's not rightfully being called out because this was called out so many times that has been addressed, like I said, twice. It's not something that's just, oh my god, they never did that. What's odd is that he tries to call them a loser, but he's also a loser as well. He made false statements about me, saying that I defended somebody, even though that it wasn't that. It was actually a correction of things where I actually looked at something and deemed that it was not correct and that you could not make those allegations against somebody based off of that evidence, because literally the evidence would contradict it and they would say that. Then he harassed me. Then he also stole my video as well. Then he tried to hide all that evidence. Then when pressured about this, he just straight up dipped. Like he said, oh, well, I want a Discord call. And then when I pressed him on the Discord call saying, this is a lie, this is a lie, this is a lie, he just ran. I can show a clip of that. I will apologize for taking your comment. If you really didn't want me to have it up, and I would have taken it down, but as far as that, I'm not giving you apology for so-called harassing you. If you can't handle mild insults, that wasn't my point. Once again, that wasn't my point, then there's probably something wrong with you. If you literally read before that, it literally talks about like that's not what I ever said and that was not my actual point, in which he just said this same exact thing over again and then just dipped out of there before he got pressed on anything else. So yeah, when he's talking about people being loserish and defending things, take accountability of you doing things before trying to call out other people when you're acting like a shitty person as well. Or I should say shitty by your own standards. This is even worse than like whatever this is. This is actual loser behavior, not like, oh, what you want to believe based off of some grandstanding morality. One last thing, he also tries to use like the longest solo ever's like race and sexuality against him. That's not good.
How do I end this video off in like the best way possible? I don't want to jump to conclusions, but I don't see these people addressing this stuff.
That's because they already did that. Like I said twice. The problem is that this is such a big nothing burger because most of the people don't actually research and just believe whatever drama they see on Twitter and reignite it, even though it has been talked to through death and back. It's so odd, and it's extremely bad because he's jumping to conclusions and then literally lying in front of your face saying, "Oh well, I don't want to jump to conclusions." It's like, well, then don't make a video. Don't try to like say like don't try to critique all these people. Don't try to do all this stuff where it's absolutely stupid and has been ever since it came out. Like ever since the first time in like 2021, where like there was actual serious stuff. It's like it already has been addressed. It already has been changed. There has been actions. We don't see anything else, and now people are just trying to control other people through fear and harassment and just trying to gut people. Where it's like, if you interact with this person, you lose all my respect. Okay, well, you're a random loser on the internet. Stop this. I don't know when we on the internet became like moral arbiters, trying to act like if you do this or you associate with this person, you're bad. It's incredibly idiotic. Now, obviously, if there was something serious, like a person was actually a pedophile where they got charged for it and you still continued, that's something else. But that's not what we see. What we see is that we see a person was bad in their youth, then they changed it once they got older, and now pretty much there's nothing there. So why are you getting mad at something that happened so many years ago? Even if we were to take the things of like, oh well, what about when they were like 18, 19, where they were using slurs? This person uses slurs. It's such a bad video from this person, and he's now lying about a situation in which he doesn't have that much information and is just trying to once again do the same thing that he tried to do to me, where he tries to do it based off of jokes and insults and very surface level knowledge and interpretations of things to go make up a story. This is what happened with the nominal dingus thing as well, where a bunch of people said a bunch of stuff, tried to reignite a whole bunch of stuff, and then didn't really actually give much. It's just it's similar. It's actually worse because this thing has been addressed, like I said multiple times. This thing has been done multiple times. It's not just something where this person just brushed past it. This person has grown and talked about it twice, one in that Twitter thread and then one in an actual document, which a lot of people just seem to want to ignore in terms of this drama and act like nobody said anything. There's a reason why people are defending, people are just not caring, because it's dumb, and you don't get to choose who a person interacts with. You can decide not to interact with that person. I think it's a little bit dumb. But when you're trying to say, no, you don't get to do that based off of my feelings of something that it happened years ago, when there's nothing else that came from that, that's a problem. You are now being parasocial, and you are actually the person that should be criticized. There's no other valid criticism here besides things that have been talked about in the past. But if you're repeating the past over and over again, you're just an idiot. There's no point. It's so much nothing.